Hey everyone, this is Lukas Schwekendiek. Life is complicated. Even the best experts don't know what it's all about. You can ask self improvement experts, psychologists, therapists, philosophers. No one knows. In the self improvement industry, we usually just skip over the first part, but that's exactly what I want to talk to you about today. Um, Many experts say, when you know your why, when you know your passion, when you know what you want out of life, it's easy. You just go for it. You make sure that success is all you drive for. Happiness, whatever, right? Your goal. But what does that mean? What is your goal? What does success even mean to you? What is your why? What is your passion? What is your purpose? What is your calling? It's not that simple, is it? I mean, many people say, once you have it, it's easy. But how do you find it? Today, I want to give you my 5 steps to figuring it out, or at least to getting closer to figuring out your personal why and your personal reason, passion, whatever it is. Most of these are just steps or levels of the same thing. So I'm going to share with you what I do with my clients and share with you what you can do. And I would like you to try to do this step by step, pausing the video, and I'll make sure to note it once we get to those points. Pausing the video and doing one thing at a time. Because if you go too far ahead, you're going to spoil the surprise. So we'll start with step number 1, and that is brainstorming. Many people already failed the step. They think that they can just go through life and their passion smacks them in the face. That, like a baseball flying through their living room window, they just get hit in the face with purpose, with motivation, with their why. That just by living they find it. But how often has a baseball even flown through your window? Probably not that often. Now you're expecting something much rarer to hit you in the face as you go through life? It's very unlikely. And even if you're one of the lucky ones where that does happen, relying on it to happen if it hasn't happened to you yet is putting a lot of your eggs in one basket. Personally, I would advise against that. I would say take some action steps and sit down and write about it and think about it. Brainstorm a little bit. So for this, there's a couple of, sub-steps to take into account. First of all, I recommend that you set a timer. 15 minutes is usually a good start. 30 minutes will be a lot more than it sounds like right now, and anything below 10 minutes is going to be too little to really get the creative juices flowing. So set a timer for 15 minutes. And then grab a pen and a piece of paper and start the timer. Once that timer starts, I want you only to write sentences about what you want. And I want this to be everything you want, regardless of how plausible it is, how possible it is, how big it is or how small it is. Start every sentence with I want, ... And do not use the words but, because, or if. Don't explain yourself. Just write down what you want. Try to keep the sentences short, and again, don't try to go for anything that's possible or even plausible. If you can, try to direct it to your future, what you want in the future instead of this moment or what you used to want, but that's optional. The bigger thing is that you write down everything that comes to your mind and you don't stop writing for the entire time that you set the timer for. Now, when you do this, just keep writing, right? I want a piece of chocolate. If you don't know what you want, go for the easy ones. I want to be rich, I want to be famous, I want to be successful, whatever it is. And then as you go on, try to not explain yourself, but become more specifics with those wants. I want to be TV famous. I want to be money successful. Whatever you can think of. But for now, just keep writing. You may have to do this part a couple more times before you really get down to the details. That's okay. So for now, pause the video here, set a timer, do this, and then continue with the video once you've done this. because there's a little bit more to step 1. So pause right here. Okay, now I'm assuming you've done this. You've wrote down a couple things. The next thing I want you to do, and this is the part of step 1, is to circle everything you wrote down that actually makes you feel something. You're just kind of sifting through it a little bit and getting rid of all of the stuff that was just filler. Okay, now we'll move on to step 2. Step 2 is out of all of those things that you circled, all of those things that made you feel something, that made you feel inspired or passionate or happy or excited or even angry. I want you to pick 3. No more, no less. And there's a reason for that I'm not going to get into, but it's a magic number, it's called. And then I want you to ask yourself in each of these things, what is a goal that you would like to reach? So for instance, if one of the things that you circled was, I want to own a $3 million mansion, for whatever reason, then what is a goal, a sub-goal, ideally, in this particular path that you want to reach? So this could be a money-related goal right now. You could say that a $3 million mansion is basically money. You could say also it's career-based, that if you reach higher in your career, this will be a kind of a benchmark for how far you've come. So what is it in that particular pathway that you could have as a sub-goal? Maybe you say, I want to have $1,000 more. And then I want you to develop a habit that would reach this particular sub-goal. So what is a habit that you can do every single day that would get you $1,000 more by, let's say, the end of a month? Or the end of 3 months, or the end of 6 months. It doesn't really matter, this is up to you. And the checkpoint goal should not be time-based. But what is a habit that would eventually get you there? And then I want you to start on that habit, because I want you to experience this process, this progress that you're making towards your goals. This experience is what we're after here. We're not after the exact goals from the brainstorming. We're not after actually reaching them. We're after you experiencing some of these things that are already inside of you, some of these desires, and the steps towards that. Because once you experience some of these things, your goals will start to shift. They might get more detailed, they might get grander, they might take a different turn completely, because you realize that whatever goal made you feel something wasn't truly your feeling, but just something that you've learned. But for that, we actually have to experience it first. So you have your goal, your thing that you wrote down. Then you divide that into a sub-goal on the path, if it's not already sub-goal-y enough, if it's not already small enough. And then you create a habit that would get you there. And now I'm realizing that in the article that I wrote, there's a lot less steps. I don't remember how many steps I said this would be, but it's not that many. So the next step, this is step number 3, is for you to keep an update on this, for you to keep reflecting on your journey. The core of it are these 2 steps, and I would recommend that you go through these 2 steps as often as you can. But after that, once you experience things, you go back through and you keep trying things. You keep looking at what worked and what didn't work. And emotions, more so than logic, will be better teachers. What do you feel? Do you feel more connected to your goal? Do you feel better overall? Do you feel like this is the right thing to do? Like this is what you really want out of life? Or does it feel worse the longer you go for it? In step number 2, we looked at 3 things. Right? Try each of these 3 things at least 90 days. But after that, when you review, if you have something that you would think would be a better fit for you, change it. And then try that again for 90 days. And then change it again. And keep switching things out. Now, if you don't think there's anything better, then keep going. And if let's say you've beaten 180 days with it, then you may add a 4th thing. But only if you didn't change something. And you keep just reflecting and you keep taking stock of it. At least, please, at least do this once a week. Please, right now, if you've watched long enough, put this in your calendar. Review passion, review purpose, review my drive. What have I learned so far? And then you take a look at it. And once you've done that, this is already a lot. I would start with all of this, and this extra step, so step number 4, is only for the people that either have done this for a while or that are very motivated already, even without a goal. And that is to start adding a habit for each area of your life. And the reason for this is because a lot of the times our subconscious wants to create a full life, right? When we think of success, we think of everything being successful, not just one area of life. And so if you just go for one goal, like money, you're likely going to leave a lot of other things behind. And we don't want that to happen. We want you to create a full life. Fulfilled life means every area is met. So start creating habits for each of these, so that, again, you can experience each of these and then create goals and then form a clearer picture about what it actually is that you want. And as long as you follow your emotions with all of this, as long as you keep stock of what's coming from the inside, you'll likely find that you're getting closer and closer to your ideal dream. Once you're there, it may not be ideal, because then you'll again experience some things that you could not have thought of before, and things may change, and that's okay. But you need to start experiencing some things. And for that, you need to start figuring out what to do first, because there's a lot to experience in life. But the more you experience and the more directed you can make those experiences, the more you learn about yourself, the more you learn about life. And it's likely going to become more complicated the more you experience, but in a narrower path. Right now you have this big, broad view of life, and it's really just gigantic. And then as you narrow your vision, things become more convoluted in the details. But it becomes easier as well. Complicated doesn't mean hard or difficult. It just means complex. And there's even a rule of thumb going on in self-improvement that life is so complicated that it's just not worth figuring it out. That you should just live. But as I've also told a client this week, a lot of coaching is about building people up so that you can break them down again. But you have to build them up first. You have to give them things first. You have to let them experience them, have them experience things first, have them learn about themselves first, have to give them things to do first, before you can then start removing these things again and they realize that they didn't need them. But again, this is going very into the details and a little bit off topic. For now, just take some time to think about what you want out of life. Take some time to experience some things. Take some time to go out of your comfort zone, to do a little bit more this week than you've done before, to say yes a couple more times. And as you experience things, you'll realize why you like the things that you thought you liked and why they may not be perfect. And then you can adjust. And the things that you keep will likely turn to reach higher and higher levels. And that makes it go from a desire to a passion, to a purpose, to a calling. And eventually even an obsession. Which is not necessarily a bad thing, at least not if you follow Brendon Burchard, who says this. But they're all levels of the same thing. It all starts with a simple want. And that's where passion is built from. That's where calling is built from. And that's where you'll probably find your fulfillment. So I hope this gave you a little bit to work with. As you could maybe see in these videos, these are not pre-thought out. I just go. And I did write an article that I have here in front of me, but I didn't even read the article again before I started recording. So that's what I mean, maybe don't bother trying to figure it out and just go for it. Chase what you want and you'll find some things. thanks to those who stuck around. I hope you got something out of this video. I hope you took these steps to heart, and I hope this gives you at least a basic guideline. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.